Hello and welcome to Sporting Gibberish. I'm Stu Booth.
And I'm Jack Luffman.
I've got to say I'm going to apologise in advance now because I am hanging.
It's not even the when I got around here, he was in his dressing gown with one sock on and one sock off. What's going on there?
Well, I'll just say it was a good Christmas do. I am majorly struggling this morning, so I apologise in advance to everybody out there. There is a chance I'll either be sick or I will fall asleep during the podcast.
Yeah, so I'll wake him up. So anyway, yeah, we have finished for the festive period.
We have a few weeks off. But on today's show, back to the stories. Talking football, rugby union, bit about boxing. We're going to talk about Jack and his cricket bubbles. I've no idea what he's talking about. A little bit about Kevin Sinfield and Larkin's Corner. He's back. I've not listened to it.
I haven't, no.
It's like a weekly treat, just waiting for Larkin's Corner.
Yeah, so we just hope that he never does anything on it.
Yeah, we should really. One of us should really check. Should we? Anything could happen. But we're going to start with fact or fiction.
Your go.
Yes, it is my go. Right.
Can you remember what you've done?
Yes, I've got them in front of me. I didn't remember this morning when I woke up, but I have them now in front of me. Right, Mr. Luffman.
Come on, let's go.
We're going to start with sports injuries.
Okay.
And the impact on the NHS.
Right.
Okay, so sports injuries account for 1% of accident and emergency cases in the UK. Fact or fiction?
I would say that's probably fiction because I say it's higher. I'm going higher than 1%.
Okay, what percent would you give it?
I don't know. 7%.
It's actually 2%.
Oh, is it?
Congratulations, you did it right. So you're only 1% out, but 12% of crutches issued and 7% of plaster casts are related to sport.
Yeah. You can always see, locally, if you've ever been in the winter particularly, it's always full in at amateur footballers.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, well, it's not funny. My mate broke his leg. Definitely not funny. It's not funny, sorry Stu. He broke his leg, but at the same time the ambulance was delayed because they had to go and pick somebody else up for another pitch who also broke his leg at the same time and they ended up in opposite beds.
2 for 1.
Yeah, well, he didn't pick him, he waited an hour for him to get picked up, and he snapped both tib and fib. He was in a bad way, but yeah, an hour.
Really funny as well, that.
Yeah, hilarious. There's a great story behind it. So I went to see him, and he's literally plaster casting up to his hip.
Oh no.
And he says to me, he's like, "Shoot, I'm dying for a cigarette." I was like, "Oh, we're gonna do that anyway. Help me get off the bed, go and get me a wheelchair, and we'll sneak out. We'll have a cigarette." I'm like, "All right, okay, right." So I go and get this wheelchair and put it right side of him. I'm like looking out for nurses. So I'm trying to get him off the bed, but he's like at his hip. So I'm holding it from like his ankle and his knee. And we're talking, he's been in cast like about 7-8 hours. He's trying to shuffle off the bed, and as we get him almost into the wheelchair, the nurse comes in and goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, and you're like, you naughty kid, you've just been caught. I was like, "What do I do now?" And she's like, "Get him back on the bed." Yeah. So they're shuffling back onto the bed. She's like, why are you two doing? And he's like, "I just wanted a cigarette." She's like, "You tell me I'll just give you nicotine patches." Yeah, nice one, Stu. Anyway, on to the next one. Wearing the colour red gives you a psychological advantage in football.
Well, so from my media training and things like that, the colour red infers danger or love. So, and going through history, the likes of Man United who changed their kit because they were originally yellow and green, weren't they? I'm thinking that's true, that's a fact.
According to research, in 2008, football teams wearing red shirts have an advantage thanks to our deep-rooted biological response to the colour.
There you go.
2 for 2.
2 from 2. Brilliant.
Right. In the 1908 Olympics, teams from the UK Fire Brigade won all the medals at the tug of war event.
The tug of war. That is an Olympic event. Go on, I'm going to go. That's fact. Let's go with the fact.
Tug of war was an event. It was actually the UK police, not the Fire Brigade.
Oh, good on the police.
Yeah. So 2-1. Well done, Luffers.
Yeah, good. Okay, sport and win. Well, should we start with you, Stu?
Oh, do we have to?
Just to remind everybody, top of the table, basically a league decider, wasn't it, Wednesday evening?
That's correct.
Didn't quite get to plan, did it?
No, we lost. It was an interesting game, and I think when I look back at it, it's getting that first goal is a massive advantage in 7-a-side. So we started off really well. We've had I've hit the post early doors. Another striker's blazed 2 over, and then we've had I think 4 really bizarrely where we've gone across the face of goal. They've gone to clear it and miskicked it and just inched over the bar. 4 right into the middle of the goal where it's just gone over. I think any one of them goes in and it's definitely plays in our advantage. And then just as I came from my rotation off, I'm walking off to pick my bottle up, and we've got a goal kick. So I'm like, I've got a goal kick, I'm going to get my water bottle. And as I pick my water bottle up, all of a sudden he's, yes, go on then. And I turn around and the guy's scoring. I'm like, what's happened there? It turns out goalkeeper's going to put the ball down. Right back splits off into the far corner, left back splits off to the far corner, goes to play it to right back, just completely miskicks it and passes it straight to the centre forward in the middle of the pitch. So he's took a touch and gone, oh, thank you very much, slotted it away, put them 1-0 up, and then I think we probably chased a bit too early in second half, you know, like we pressed up the pitch, they kind of drew us in, and then they just hit us on the counter, and it finished 4-1 in the end.
But you got the goal.
I did, yeah.
So does that mean you finished top goal scorer in the league?
Really bizarrely is straight after that our other team played, and our gaffer says we're short of players, then we fancy, and I was like, go on then. I played, I think out of the 60 minutes I think I must have played 53 or something, so I was like, oh go on, I'll play first half here, because go and play centre back. So I played centre forward for one team, I went and played centre back, and I played most of the first half, came off for like a 7-minute stint, then started the second half, and then I think I left with about 10 minutes to go. Managed to score 2 from centre back. I'm like, the bizarre thing, but I left at 4-3 up, and then when I got up and took the result, we lost 5-4, so it just wasn't a good enough for the All-Stars. But then they added my goals in from the second team, so I've scored 14, and nobody else is anywhere near.
Brilliant. Did you win anything for that?
Absolutely squat.
Just the pride of being top goal scorer, and second in the league, it's not bad.
No, it's not the worst case scenario, but I think when I look back at it, I was really excited about the game, and it brought back a little bit of a buzz about when I used to play when it was like a cup final, because it felt like that. Like been a delay, I think it was like 2 weeks since the last game, so it felt like a bit of a cup final day, a bit disappointing, but you know, I'm just happy to be out and playing, which unfortunately our counterparts in the UK are not doing at the moment.
So it's winter off now, and then a winter break, and then back in the new year?
Yeah, well there's a vicious rumour flying around at the moment that Lebanon side's going to start in Jan. So for us vets, the strange thing is the league collapsed the season and said we're not even going to count that season. We had like 4 or 5 games left. You know, like if the league starts, let's say February time, that would be the ideal time to finish in 4 or 5 games, and with a cup competition, then you go into the summer then, because to squeeze a league in between Jan to when it starts getting hot,
you can't play much beyond April, can you?
Yeah, as soon as you hit May, you're really in trouble then, and you know, like
that makes sense. Finish last season off with the cup
so.
Oh well good, well done.
Yeah.
Top goal scorer.
Yes, thank you very much. And your big game is actually today. It's currently in the kit.
This afternoon, you've got the Exiles match day attire on. Semi-final this afternoon against Cool Boys. We're a little bit short.
Oh yeah, I might get a call up even in this state.
We're a little bit short. We've got a couple have had to travel for family reasons, and then arguably our best player, Clint, is in isolation because he's coming into close contact with somebody at work who's got the COVID, so he's had to self-isolate for 14 days. Now, if we get to the final for next week, he's free because I think he started on.
Must have been pretty much straight after the quarters, then that.
Yeah, I think it was beginning of last week. Ironically, in the one of the 2 days that we were at work for. So yeah, that's a bit disappointing. But so I think we're going to try and get into the final.
Yeah.
Obviously, but yeah, that's afternoon, so looking forward to that.
So looking squad number 19?
19, yeah.
19, that's definitely not your average because it's way too high.
Yeah, 19, it's just a number. My date of birth, my dad's lucky number. Both my bud on the 19th of February, born, but the 19th of November.
Good song, Not 19 Forever.
Oh, never heard of it.
Never heard of that, Cortinas. You're not 19 forever, put yourself together.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a song. Yeah. Maybe that's what I should walk out to that in.
That would be, but you don't even talk to anyone anyway, so.
I'm in the zone.
You're in the zone. No point putting a song on for you then, isn't it? Right, so good luck with that today.
Cheers.
If I pick up at some point, life comes back into my veins. And
I tell you what, the viewers and listeners, there's no way Booth is making his way to the 7th in the States.
I think since you saw me an hour ago, there's major improvements.
Yeah, or you dress for starters.
Yeah, that's always a good starting point. But yes, might venture up and have a gander. Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe
Right, so boxing, AJ, big fight this weekend.
Yeah, I think.
Is it? Do you pronounce it Pulev?
Pulev, I think.
Pulev.
Yeah.
Pulev. AJ is going to be strong favourite going into this. I'm going to go winner, knockout, round 6.
Yeah, I'll probably go a bit early, maybe round 5.
Okay.
I think he looks in decent shape. He's passed all his COVID tests, so it's all systems go. And of course, the reason for this is it's mandatory challenger to whichever title it is, and it just opens the door to the big fight next year, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what everybody's going for now, isn't it? And I think Fury needs to tick another box off, and then he's okay to go for it. But I still don't know what's going on with Fury and his third fight with Wilder, because there's talk that's written in the contract, then there's talks that Fury's going to just pay him off.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
but I think actually, and I sort of read an article, so that's obviously the big boxing news, and obviously Eddie Hearn's did a great job. We talked about it earlier in the lockdown, creating these bubbles, etc. And no fans, or there might be a few fans in, I'm not sure. I think it's 2,000, but then London looks like they're going into tier 3, doesn't it now?
But
So
I'll tell you what, how exciting would that be? The first fight back,
that's what's about.
Fury versus Wilder with fans. Oh my goodness. Pick ticket price.
Fury, AJ, you mean?
Sorry, yeah, Fury AJ.
At Wembley?
That would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
80,000.
Yeah, because it needs it, because the biggest other news in boxing was Mayweather fighting that YouTuber, and the YouTuber lost to the other YouTuber. I mean,
yeah, but he knocked somebody out, didn't he? In the undercard for the Tyson fight the other day.
Yeah.
So he's now thinking he's a bit of a boxer,
But yeah, so it needs the boxing momentum to start going in the heavyweight division.
Unfortunately, I think Mayweather's turned into a bit of a sideshow. You know, you've got. I'm not even going to count the McGregor fight. You're 49-0. You know, you retired at the top of the game, 49-0. Leave it be. Don't come back and do gimmick fights like the McGregor one was a gimmick fight. You know, like, at least it was a fighter who's fighting. You're going to fight a YouTuber for saying, I'm like, what a waste. Like,
well, I wonder what the real boxing, you know, hard people, you know, the thoroughbred boxing fans think of that, because. Listen to that. Mayweather, a retired boxer fighting a YouTuber.
Yeah, world's gone
Cooper
crazy.
will be turning his grave, won't he?
Yeah, world's gone crazy.
But come on, AJ.
Yes, look forward to that. And with no work, so we can actually stay up for that, Jackie Boy.
Yeah, no. Jackie Boy.
Mr. Jackie Boy to you, sir. That's a little joke. So my daughter obviously goes to the same school as we work at, and she calls Jackie Boy. So every time she goes, Jackie Boy, and then Jack said to her, "We're going to call me next year if I'm teaching." She's like, Mr. Jackie Boy.
Brilliant.
Yeah, she's a fruitcake. Right, on to football. Right, so I apologise in advance. I actually got something wrong last week. Look at that. First ever
admit.
No, first time I got something wrong.
Oh.
First time admitted. First ever apology. Right, so I got a little bit. I didn't look at the dates. I'll be completely honest with you. So there was no fixtures last weekend. They all started last night. So Al Nasser played for Jera last night and won 3-2. The big game was Sharjah versus Al Wassel. Al Ain, after the good win, drew 0-0 with Ajman, so that's major points drop for them.
Yeah.
And Sharjah actually beat Al Wassel 2-1, which then leads on to a few fixtures today. There's Shabab Al Ali at home to Al Dafra. Hatta at home to Baniyas, which I think we said last year. Baniyas are just bouncing back after their recent win. Al Jazeera versus Al Wada, which kind of they're in that cluster of behind Sharjah. There's like 3 or 4 teams that will be looking to push on now. But good result for your boys, and if you can potentially get a draw of Al Jazeera and Al Wada, you're
second. Yeah.
You are second at the moment, but that will cement that place.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
happens.
The idea and the other thing that was released last week was the second division of the UAE League started, and they actually put all the games at the sevens.
Yeah.
So they had all the teams there from all the different areas playing, and there is a couple of related teams to people that we know. So Dubai City FC, which is the academy is run by a guy called Terry Kidd, who used to run Harry's football team, ESM, and they've got a team in that division, and there's one, I can't think of the name of them, I'll find it in a second, but they're heavily linked with the north east of England. They brought quite a few Geordie lads over, ex-Sunderland players, ex-Middlesbrough players, and Newcastle lads, and they won their opening game 7-0.
So they're playing at the 7, so that happening today as well. We're on there.
There's good chances that they played all the games last week.
I don't know anybody. while Stu looks for that, don't it? The Sevens, we often refer to the Sevens Stadium. Well, there is a stadium there, and that's where actually the Dubai Sevens rugby that takes place usually every December, would have been about a week or so ago, as part of the Rugby Sevens World Series, if you like. But there are rugby pitches, football pitches, cricket ovals, nets, training facilities, a huge clubhouse with bars. It is an unbelievable facility.
Oh yeah.
The likes of Glasgow Rangers, Liverpool, they've all used it on pre-season in the past. So the fact that if you're listening, you've got something to do, you can actually get into the Sevens and watch from balconies, from the bar, and you'll be able to watch some of that football.
Well, dead bizarrely, as I was walking past there the other day, there was a little pump stand outside one of the pitches, so you could actually, it looks like you could actually get a beer and stand by the side of them.
Right, yeah.
So there are a couple of pumps out there. Just got the teams up here. There's Al Dar College, Al Fahar, Al Hassim, Al Halil United, Al Iktafi, Al Maju, Al Sahir, Dubai City, which is the one that we talked about, Dubai United, Laval United, that's a team. It's got linked with the Geordie lads. Lowell FC, Quattro, Regional Sports, Benayoun Sports Club, and United Al Ain. But yeah, they're the teams involved. But yeah, like I was saying, is that last week, loads of games going on all at the same time. So
maybe have a venture over.
Well, you know, like, well, maybe today if I pop up and go, I might take our kid along and see what's going on. But yeah, interesting and good for people to get.
And there is rumour again, isn't there, in the new year that fans are going to be allowed into the main league, the Gulf League. So hopefully, because I'm looking forward to having a watch of all those.
Yeah, definitely. So Premier League results. Good results for both of us last week.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
So we'll run through them. Burnley 1-1 with Everton. Caught bits of that game.
It wasn't too bad, to be fair.
No, and to be fair, Pope's made a great save right at the end to stop Everton pinching the points, but probably a fair result on reflection. City coasted to a 2-0 win at Fulham.
Yeah.
Talk about games of two halves. West Ham, Man United. West Ham clearly dominant first half, and I think when we talk about, mentioned before about being clinical, we weren't clinical on the other night, and West Ham weren't. You know,
they're struggling. I mean, I know that Paul had slipped that. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Is it Halliwell from that?
Yeah.
Where he did everything right and then slipped, and that just about sums him up and his season for the goal. They're missing. You know, Antonio's don't really think he's a natural striker.
No, he's a winger, isn't he?
But they are missing him up front, definitely.
But yeah, it's a funny one for West Ham. So
Ollie,
yeah, and we'll talk about United in Champions League in a minute. But yeah, 3-1 win for United. Chelsea did the business of Leeds 3-1 as expected. That was a strange one. West Brom, Crystal Palace, all changed on that red card.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
I'm question marking if I don't think he's deliberately kicked him. It's just the way he's rolled back. If he's kicked him, you'd expect the leg extension to happen, and his leg's still bent. You know, like it's kind of fallen backwards, and naturally you roll back into that position, don't you, to try and get up?
I think it's one of those ones that a lot in sport looks worse in slow motion.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's poor use of video. VAR. I think it's poor refereeing. Whoever it is, whether it's on the pitch, that is not deliberate or particularly violent. That is silly.
Yeah.
But it's not. If we're sending people off for that, then anyway. But
well, actually,
it's
changed the game, didn't it? And then Zaha bagged two, and Ben Tek it back on the score sheet. Thought somebody taking him out to the pastures and shot him at some point. They needed to at one point, didn't they? Sheffield United's run continues, losing 2-1 to Leicester. See Jamie Vardy's tackle?
Yeah, brilliant. See what he's done that?
He's snapped it in half, hasn't he?
You know what he's done this week though?
No.
So he signed the flag stick to the LGBT Foxes community, signed it and has handed it to the fan club or whatever it was, but he took it home with him.
Did he?
Class one.
But I've seen the picture, somebody's got the picture and they froze it, where he's actually got 2 feet and he's just shattered it to bits. Great challenge. Great result. Go on, talk us through Spurs 2, Arsenal 0.
Just fabulous.
I looked at the stats though. Arsenal had quite a bit of the ball, but didn't really create.
But like anybody, they didn't create anything. You know, second 2-0. Like the second goal just before half time is absolutely key because it just means that Spurs don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And I think Jose realises that Arsenal at the minute aren't particularly creative. You know, much the same as Tottenham the other way. I think that's where we all struggle. Is if a side sits in against us, where's your creativity come from?
Yeah.
And then incredible crosses. I think 2 flick headers at Lloris. Arsenal were disappointing just because of the stats and that, but Tottenham were the ones in control because, well, they were just in control. You don't need the ball to be in control of a football match.
No.
Don't get me wrong. I think at times in that second half when we did get the ball, we didn't use it very well. We didn't look after it, which probably a better team or something could have paid for it. But at the end of the day, are you accepting 2-0 before the start of play?
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. And they're playing well.
Yeah, well, I spoke to a couple of Arsenal fans, one Renell and a friend of mine from back home, Miles, massive Arsenal fan. And I just said to him, what's going on? He was like, the worst team he's ever seen, he's saying at the moment, like the Arsenal team. But you look at it individually, it's not a bad outfit.
No.
But for something is not going right. Arteta, not the person that we thought he was going to be. And is that quite often the case where somebody's been a number 2 to a good manager? Like, you look at how many people have worked under Ferguson that then went on to try and become a manager and then just flopped.
Just a coach, there's nothing wrong with being a good coach.
Yeah.
I mean, I think individually, I talked to Renal as well. Obviously, I went to find him, didn't I?
Yeah,
on
I bet you did.
Monday morning, and I said, you know, ultimately though, from the Spurs point of view, who would I take from Arsenal's squad or team? You take Aubameyang,
yeah,
because he's better than Lucas and Bergwijn, and probably I won't say he's better than Bale, but he's played more football than Bale or whatever at the moment. And the centre half, is it Gabriel? The left side of centre half looks steady, and still think we need another one.
Yeah,
real
he's been a good buy for Arsenal.
But other than that, I've not seen enough of Partey. It looks half decent.
He can't get fit, can he?
No. But yeah, really happy with that. Just like your boys.
Yeah, well, yeah. We
Wolves are missing Jimenez. Talk about a focal point.
We actually had it. If there was anything from that game, it was like Wolves didn't play too bad,
No.
but just definitely is that Wolves' tradition is to get around the back of the defence, out wide, and then deliver crosses in. And if you've got Jimenez in, you got Podence up front, who's like
4 foot nothing.
Yeah, he's like probably smaller than Wolby. That's saying something. He's not going to get in there, is he, against Fabs and Matip? So, to be fair, they played alright and they huffed and puffed, but not really creating anything. And then Conor Cody's had an absolute stinker for the first goal. It looks like he's gone to chest it like out and square, and then it's just kind of gone across him.
Slid off his shoulder.
Yeah, he's kind of opened his chest up too much, and then Salah just doesn't miss from there, does he? And then I still don't understand how Conor Cody's not been booked for that dive.
I didn't. I went to bed after 1-0.
So the ball comes in and Mane looks like he's going to do an overhead kick to clear it, and then Conor Cody goes, I can nick this, and as he nicks it, Mane looks like he's going to do an overhead kick, and then he stops at last minute to do it. Well then, Conor Cody's like dragged his feet, thrown himself down, referees give a penalty. Liverpool players are going absolutely berserk, and I think at the time is Conor Cody like kind of like a little bit.
He's not that kind of player, is he?
No, I don't know if he. And somebody said, Daryl said this to me. He said that you think he was anticipating a touch.
Yeah.
So he was already going away, and he's going to hit me. I'm going to go down as he hits me. But he doesn't touch him, he dives, and then Conor Cody kind of like just puts his head down, and walks out of the area, while one of his teammates trying to high five him. And then the referee reviews it and doesn't give a penalty, but then also doesn't give him a yellow card, which I think it's a dive. Like Daryl was on text messages to me. He's a massive Wolves fan. And he was going, no, he was anticipating the hit. I'm like, it doesn't make a difference anticipating the hit or not. It's a dive, And if we want to try and nail that out of the game, we need to book people. And then I listened to Keys and Gray, who are absolute muppets at best of times, and he's going, Liverpool can't have anything to say about the penalties they've been given. What's that going to do with the price of fish? It's not about he just drags up history all the time.
That's Keys, that is. He's worse than Andy Gray.
Yeah, and to be fair, Andy Gray, I don't mind Andy Gray, but
yeah.
Keys is just, I think he just does things to irritate people.
I think he does it even to irritate Andy Gray, because sometimes he can seem like, no, Richard.
Yeah, and then second half, when Wolves thought they were going to get back in it, Liverpool just kind of stepped up another gear and just put them to the sword, and great 4-0 victory.
And then
Monday night saw
Southampton.
Yeah, Southampton beat Brighton, so Southampton keeping up good performances.
It's fifth, though.
Yeah, well, it's a shame because they'd be in a really strong position. They'd not dropped them points against United the week before.
Yeah.
So good news on that. But then this weekend, tonight there is a fixture. What day are we on Friday? Yeah, Friday. Yeah, Leeds West Ham tonight. That's a decent game.
Yeah.
Wolves Villa, Newcastle West Brom, and then you've got to be watching United versus City, which could be the final nail in the coffin. I spoke to a United fan, and I was saying to them, you know what, I think you should have got rid of Ole after the Champions League game. We'll talk about Champions League in a second, because this would have been the new manager's free hit.
Yeah, exactly right.
Like no expectations, nothing else. And what it would have done, it would have just got to the place, go, right, this is the team, just go out and play. A little bit of freedom. City have picked up last couple of weeks, but still not firing on all
No,
cylinders.
no.
So if you've got a team there that usually has a little bit of a spike when a new guy comes in, give them that free game and just go to them. Bruno, Pogs, just go out and do something.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I might disagree with. I don't know, Matt. He's big. I think he tries to stick up for Ollie, and I get it because he's a bit of a club legend, and I understand that. But like even this week, for me, you know, Pogba's agent come out and said what he said about he needs to move, and Ollie's response is, the agent needs to realise that it's a team game. Once he realises that, we'll be fine. No. Bomb him. Get Pogba in your office and say, did you know he was going to say it? And clearly you would know he was going to say that in the press because they're mates. Right, you're not playing.
Yeah.
Just take a stance, because I tell you, I think Man United fans are done with Pogba now, and the ones I've spoken to, I think you look and follow him, they're done with him. So take a stance, bomb him, get rid of him.
Well, I'm just thinking, imagine that funds, you then go and get yourself Sancho then, couldn't you? You know,
But
the money would...
I just think he just for me, he's weak.
Yeah.
And I think you see that. And
I think United keep him in place because he's a puppet. You know, the guys went above Woodall.
yeah.
Woodward.
Woodward, that's where I'm from.
Yeah,
man.
that
I can just say we're 25 minutes in. He's just wilting a bit here.
Am I drifting?
Yeah, drifting. I think he needs some water.
I think stand up.
Got any water?
Yeah. Woodward. He's just playing him as a puppet.
Yeah,
you know,
he
just repeats everything that's going to take it down. But yeah, Everton, Chelsea also on that night. So that actually Saturday's fixture is a good lineup there.
Yeah.
And I think Everton need this to win. If they're going to realistically then look at European top six.
And actually be good result for us, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we actually had it. Then Sunday game, Southampton, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, Spurs. Palace, when they've got the fans, is a difficult place to go to.
Funny team, obviously London derby.
Yeah, so I don't think that's a given, especially with the win as well. Fulham host Liverpool. Fulham have just got to batten down the hatches, haven't they? Just hope that they don't get caught.
He'll play his way, and that's it.
Yeah, Arsenal, Burnley. That's intriguing because both teams really need 3 points.
And there's still chat, isn't there, about that some Arsenal fans would have wanted Dyche, you know, because he was linked to it a few years back before they went Emery.
But
I can't see him.
Isn't it funny how you talk about Dyche, who's done an amazing job at Burnley? As soon as you mention him with a big club, it just feels weird.
Yeah.
It's not sexy enough, is it?
No. He just...
Dyche, I'm in Arsenal now. Just doesn't do it for me now.
Bamia!
Yeah, Bamia, get out of that.
A bit like Peter Kay managing at Arsenal.
Yeah. And then the final game is Leicester Brighton, so you'd expect Leicester to
nice footballing game that'll be.
Yeah.
But Champions League quick, are we?
Yes, Champions League. So I think we just want to talk about United, really, don't we? Just
didn't watch it.
Right. So RB, and you know, like a lot of people are like, oh, you lost to RB. Let's get it right. They got to semi-finals in Champions League, so there's no mugs.
And I think Mourinho actually said it in his press conference, because he talked about that. He didn't think that, and he wasn't about Man United. He didn't think, and it's always been his belief that anybody who gets knocked out of the Champions League should get knocked out. And I agree with him.
You would say that because then it just puts you under pressure for you.
I've always thought that. Why would you get second chance in another competition?
Yeah.
And he did say that Leipzig the other side. But what a group that was, though. To be fair.
Yeah.
Remember, Istanbul are the Turkish champions.
Yeah. But you look at Istanbul and you're going, if you're talking about powerhouses of football, you're talking about Paris Saint-Germain, Man United, RB and Istanbul, you'd put it in that order, wouldn't you? Paris Saint-Germain, United, RB and Istanbul, and it's not worked out like that. And United go 3-0 down before they find a wake up, and I believe turning point was bringing Pogba on.
Yeah, apparently so.
Pogba came on the pitch and changed the game up.
The result that's killed him is that defeat in Istanbul.
Oh yeah, well,
apparently they were absolutely shocked. I've seen the goals. I mean, it's interesting. Even my good mate Lee Taylor back home, who is not, let's say, he's not an Eric Dyer fan, he's a Liverpool fan. Not an Eric Dyer fan. Often calls him out. We had a bit of a thing the other day, and he even tweeted, "I can't believe I'm saying this, but Eric Dyer is a better centre half than Harry Maguire."
Wow, that's a statement.
Discuss.
Yeah.
But apparently he was pretty dodgy again, wasn't he, Maguire, for the goals. I see Dia's got a bit of. I've seen him for that third one. He's like made himself into the smallest target ever.
Yeah, well, Henderson played in the game before, didn't he?
Yeah, so I don't know. It'd be interesting who he picks in the derby.
Yes.
Because that suggests that Dia is his number one. He was just injured last week in the Premier League game.
Yeah.
So he'll go back to Henderson, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, keep Ollie at the wheel, because the longer Ollie's at the wheel, the less potent Man United are for me.
Yeah, well, my mate was a little bit like, time to get Poch in.
Well,
which he
and
seems
if they
to-
leave it any longer, he'll get snapped up by one of the.
Well, they reckon that he's already had job offers and he keeps turning them down.
Yeah.
He's waiting and waiting. So is he waiting for this one? Is he waiting for like Real Madrid?
Yeah, or is he waiting for when Spurs have won the league? Jose goes upstairs and he's back.
Would you take Poch back?
I don't know.
You never go back, should you? I think
because
Mourinho
he's got legendary status, hasn't he? I think he's waiting for Man United or the Madrid job. He won't go to Barcelona, I don't think.
No. Anyway, on to Qatar, which was a story that I came across, which I found very, very strange.
Yeah.
So Qatar hosting the World Cup.
2022, this
Yes.
time in 2 years.
Yes. So what they've been allowed to do is join the European qualification groups
For some match practice.
for match practice. So they are allowed to play in a group, I think, with Republic of Ireland and a couple of other teams. But their games won't count as results, they're just friendlies, and Qatar will play their home games at a European destination to reduce the travel for the teams. Why is that happening? I just, why are we giving teams any type of...
I don't know.
Is that favouritism because they're hosting? Surely they can organise their own friendlies.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not got an answer, mate. He's looking at me like
But then when I did a little bit more reading, it turns out they did something similar for France.
I don't know. I just didn't know whether it was because the seasons obviously don't match up, do they, out here and in Europe, and so because of fixture congestion or whatever, whether it was just a case of it makes sure they get fixtures at the same time as everybody else in the world. I don't know.
I think they're ranked 55th in the world,
Yeah,
aren't
they're
they?
not the
So
worst.
they're not the worst
No.
team out there.
And home advantage. And incidentally, on that, we do get Ian, Keys, and Gray made a big thing about it. It would have been 2 weeks ago, I think. It was an actual. I think it was 2 years to the start of the World Cup. Some of the stadiums are fabulous.
Do you see that one that's been designed in the shape of a hat?
Yeah,
The hat they wear.
and there's another one that's designed. It's been used by using all containers.
Wowzers.
Yeah,
Um,
like in the. I don't know. They're doing it. It's an unbelievable one.
Well, if we're still here, hopefully we can get across there and catch
yeah,
a few
fingers
games.
crossed. Yeah, we'll have to go buy somewhere else though.
But yeah, I know we're not directly allowed in there, but good
bizarre.
good news for Qatar, but very strange in footballing terms. And the first figures for the MLS were released. They're the first league that's released figures on how COVID has impacted them financially.
And they lost.
$1 billion. That is a major hammering.
Unbelievable.
So they're the first ones to come out. So we just wonder if at some point the FA will release theirs, or
I mean, yeah, exactly. It will be interesting because that's a huge amount of money. I know a lot link it on a lot lesser level. A lot of the teams, I think I mentioned it a week or so ago, and I'm guessing it might be the same in your area as well. So some of those teams in Lincolnshire playing in the United Counties leagues and things like that, they've opted not to play until the tier lockdown is done with because they can't have fans in, therefore they can't generate any money beyond the bar, they can't generate money through turnstile sales, anything like that. On top of the fact that, a lot of players, the movement of players putting players' health at risk. So, and it just shows what an impact, $1 billion to a major organisation is massive.
Yeah.
And what effect is it having on, like we've said all the way, it's been a narrative all the way through, hasn't it? The semi-professional, amateur, local league stuff is, for those clubs that are still going, fair play to you, because it must be ridiculously hard work behind the scenes.
oh, without a shadow. Right, rugby union.
Yeah.
So the strange thing is, I think I text you this, didn't I, saying that ex-players now are now suing RFU for
and World Rugby,
and World Rugby for lack of protection and probably health and safety around concussion.
Yeah, it's going to open a can of worms, and I'm going to be careful what I'm going to say, but I'm going to try and articulate as best I can. So, yeah, the story is that there's a group of players, including England World Cup winner Steve Thompson and Welsh forward Alec Popham, who's only 14, is really suffering. I think worse there's 8 in total, I think, who have got together and they're going to look into get damages from World Rugby and the RFU for head injuries that is creating the early onset of dementia. Steve Thompson saying he can't remember playing the World Cup final. Man, how bad is that?
Yeah.
Because actually, I think he was pivotal in the Johnny Wilkinson drop goal final. I think he started that drive forward that then Matt Dawson went on the little wood. Blah blah. Anyway, so really bad, and obviously that is really bad. And they're talking about maybe there's got to be some protocols in place. Less contact in training. Steve Thompson was saying that he was after that World Cup, for example, he'd be straight back to the club, played training Tuesday, played Saturday, and that's how it was. When Alex Popper went to France, I think he was saying that 4 times a week he was in high contact, or high contact would be training, games, etc. And they're saying the constant, obviously, impact on the head is causing it, and so they're going to try and go for damages. Now, it's awful, but is that going to open up a can of worms that world rugby and sport don't need right now?
Well, like I said, it's a very touchy subject, because you say the wrong thing now, and there's repercussions. Because let's be honest, they sign up to play this game knowing the potential implications. Obviously, you never think that dementia would have been that one when you first signed up, not like we know now.
Yeah, same with football and the head.
So if you've got to, part of it, you've got to accept the fact that, I put myself in this position. Yes, you can argue that these protocols, which are much better now, so the concussion tests and the scenarios are put in place now, because my lad had it happen to him, and he had 28 days where he wasn't allowed to do anything. But they're much better now. But I think that's always going to happen is as science evolves and we understand more, better safety protocols will come in place. They were in place back then, but can you bite the hand that feeds you?
Yeah, I don't know. And I think that protocols, Popham, I think, certainly raised that if you weren't actually knocked out, it wasn't classed as concussion back then, and you just a bit of smelling salts off you go. Whereas obviously now they have those concussion substitutes and have the test, so it's all in place now. So I mean, look, you don't want anybody to suffer, do you? And if it is a point of, because of what they're doing, and RFU and things were negligent in that because of that, but can you be negligent? And I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. Can you be negligent of something that you didn't know anything about in the first instance? But it's interesting, and look, let's make it safer. I think Lewis Moody's called for already less impact in training. Maybe headgear needs to be compulsory, particularly for kids. I know my nephew plays and he wears a what do they call it, scrum cap all the time. So maybe that needs to come in early, a little bit like kids playing cricket. They have to wear helmets up until the age of 18. I personally think it should be mandatory all the way through. We'll see how that happens. But a big story for rugby union, put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. And then it's even worse on the back of the fact they've just won the.
And obviously on the back of they won the Six Nations 3 weeks ago, and then won the inaugural All Nations trophy on Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In a sudden death.
Yeah.
Where Owen Farrell kicked him in the end, but I think he obsessed that he had such a bad game that he should have been dead and buried before that. There we go.
But yes, cricket bubbles.
Yeah, interesting.
So it's all gone wrong, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Which makes you question what on earth has gone on.
What has gone on? Yeah. So if those of you not aware, England were in South Africa for 3 T20s and 3 ODIs, and the ODIs never happened because the first one was due last Sunday, and 2 South African players tested positive, so they would move back to, I don't know, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever it was. Ultimately, basically, the biosecure bubble sounds like it's been affected. 2 members of England's party tested positive, but then it was proved that there were false positives. Anyway, the tour was off and England flew home last night from South Africa. Question is, had it been breached? How was it breached? And does it put future things in doubt? Albeit that all the other bubbles that have been happening have been fine, and when the IPL was out, we can speak from experience that those players were not out and about. They were in the hotel grounds on buses, and that was it, because we went to a couple of hotels where they were staying and they weren't.
We didn't see them.
We were out and about. The lift, you were even using just one lift, weren't they?
Yeah, they had their own. When we came out of the hotel and we saw
Chris Gale, weren't you?
King's 11. They had their own entrance into their section of the hotel, entrance, exit, and they literally just went straight out of the hotel, straight to the bus, and we didn't see them around the hotel at all.
So, and obviously in England during the summer it all worked. So I don't know what's going on there, but the interesting thing about the bubbles, which I put on there, and I think Ashley Giles, the managing director, said that if any players or staff had actually tested positive and weren't able to fly on Thursday, he was going to stay with them, not leave them, because obviously they'd have to isolate for 14 days. On the back of that, Tom Banton, Tom Curran have pulled out of the Big Bash in Australia because they'll obviously have to go. Those who've flown there now, so other England players have gone, Jason Moore, David Milan, but they've got to spend 2 weeks in a hotel room, that's it, before they can do anything, and it is proper like knock on the door, breakfast and stuff like that. And the two Toms have actually pulled out because they've been in bubbles basically since about June in England, and both of them, particularly Banton, has hardly played any cricket. So he's been in these bubbles in England, in the IPL.
That must be a killer, wasting all that time and then not even getting any games.
Yeah, and in the IPL they've been to South Africa, so I think they both just said, I just need some family time. I think they both said so. And then looking forward, Sri Lanka go to South Africa over Christmas for some test matches. England go to Sri Lanka in January, and then it's just been announced that the India tour will happen in India, not here at the moment. But they're all going to be bubbles. So I was looking at the thing this morning that Josh Butler could spend 18 months in bubbles because they still think that next year in the test matches in England will be the same.
I think it's all depending on how this vaccine and works.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, don't get me wrong, like when they were here, they were out on the beach, but they were all even separate. But it's tough. And Ashley Giles has said that in future that all England players are going to have a mental health screen before they go on tour for it.
Yeah, I'm thinking that because you sat in a room on your own. It's just 2 weeks with your mind, isn't it?
Yeah, that I was reading this morning. David Milan, who has gone from South Africa to the big basketball, the Hobart Hurricanes. He's in Tasmania. 14 days in a hotel room. He said, I don't know what wind we've been put on, but he's got no window that opens and no balcony. He gets knocked to the door at 7, 8 o'clock every morning with his breakfast. It's like being, you can imagine it's like it is in prison.
Yeah.
Can't go out. They've been giving him a treadmill outside that's made up, but they can't drag it in because it's too heavy. Can't get in the room, so they've got to. He's having another one delivered that he's got to then put up in his room, and he's just doing like a Zoom, an hour Zoom thing in the morning, exercise thing, and then on the bike, just casually on the bike for an hour, just to pass time.
Well, I spoke to Rob from work, and he was saying to me that if he went back to Australia, similar scenario, they get an hour outside, like walk around. So it's very much like prison. You get it's your turn for your hour. You can go and use this and walk around this area. It was like sitting in the hotel room with kids for.
And like, you got to think like the two Toms are talking about Curran, for example. And they did that when they first arrived in here, and then they did it in South Africa when they went there. They've done it in Australia, and I think they just decided, that's tough.
Yeah, hard work.
Tough, so
Right.
Interested to see where that develops.
Yeah. So the next schedule and thing, it says Arise Sir Kev.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
So I've always said Kev. So Kevin Sinfield, I think he's director
Yes,
of
I
Rugby
do know what you're
Leeds
talking about now.
Leeds Rhinos.
Because he said Arise Sir Kev, I'm like, is it about? Because Jack has an obsession with Kevin Peterson. I'm like, it's got to be linked with Kevin Peterson. But yes, I do know it about.
Yeah. So he just completed this week 7 marathons in 7 days for motor neurone disease, because of course his good friend and former colleague Rob Burrows fell foul to that awful disease, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crippling disease.
Absolutely. And so I think his idea was 7 marathons in 7 days, because that was Rob Burrows' number, and was aiming to raise 77,000. Although I did see in an interview he said, well, I've been happy to raise 7,000. As it was, he's raised, I think, close to 1.5 million. Doing 7 marathons in 7 days, during probably the worst weather that England have had in the north all year, or for over a year. It's snow, rain.
Yeah, but he's from the north, so he's alright, because us northerners would have just done it in a vest or naked.
What a thought. I've only seen that once this morning.
Wasn't completely naked, Joe.
But 7 marathons in 7 days.
Yeah, I doff my cap to you.
Unbelievable. And so it should have not be on the way. That's a substantial amount of money he's raised.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He won't crave for it, but it was just a tongue-in-cheek thing. Other people have done lots of good things, and 7 marathons in 7 days, 1.5 million.
Yeah, maybe it might be in the Queen's New Year's honours list.
Watch out for that one, but not that he probably needs it, but well done, Kev.
Yes,
put back in you.
I'm sure she's listening now. But moving over to fantasy football, I actually had a decent week. 77 points, I think I got.
How many did I get? About 79.
You 69.
Oh,
great number.
Yeah, can't blame it.
I actually scored more than the top 4 this week.
But what position are you in?
80th, I think. Yeah, 80th. But I tell you what has done is Henry's going further. He's getting worse.
Is he?
Henry's dropping like a stone. Thought he was going to get near me. I think there's about 17 points difference now. I think he thought he was like 20-30 points behind me, but I think I'm finally in the game
what
now.
What position have I got to again now? Is that a bad week last week?
So first place is Scoops FC with Mike Keevy. Second place, 2 girls, 1 schluck with Ian. Big Lefty's Finest. Third, Tottenham Hotspurs, Johnny Underhill in 4th. Seth has jumped from nowhere with a massive 95 points this week. Desert Dons has jumped into 5th place.
Does 95 points win the weekly prize?
95 does not win the weekly prize, and the surprising thing is it's I think the first ever time this happened is we've got 100 points on the board.
Raise the bat, fella.
Yeah, Suhaib with Shake to the City has got 100 points this week, so he is our weekly prize winner.
Do you play footy with him?
So he plays with what used to be called Dotmania Nations, which is currently called Sporting Gibberish Nations.
Yes.
So he plays for them. So congratulations to him. Get in contact with me, and voucher will be on its way to you. But I think now it's the exciting part.
Everybody's favourite time of the week.
Yes, it is Larkin's Corner.
Boys, it is great to be back. So last week I've only got to come through again with the absolute jam. Nico Williams, 3.9 million, clean sheet, 5 points, should have been 6, but he got himself a yellow card. Too passionate, but I can't blame the lad. Staking his place for a regular first team start at Liverpool. So on the back of that, I've been inundated with emails, WhatsApps, tweets, you name it, letters I've been receiving this week. What caught my eye was a letter that was sent from one of our big fans here, and I'm just going to read it out to you, and it'd be my honour to give a verbal response to one of our biggest fans. So it reads, "Oh, old Larko, how's it going, my boy? Old Larko, I hope this letter finds you well. I appreciate you and the rest of the SJ lads for your support and input." Very nice start there, thought. "Especially you and Mike Phelan. 100% jam, my rubber duck. You keep more clean sheets than Sud's laundry in Neath. Let me tell you this, I'm in a fair old problem. The lad himself, Zachi from Chelsea, he's done his hammy. He's out for a few weeks. Help is much needed, my old dustbin lid. Please grace me with your wisdom. Thanks again for all you do. All the best, Tom P from South Wales." Well, Tom, gives me great pleasure to reply to my fans. Our fans, sorry, Stu and Jack. And my answer to you is I've been faced with the same problems. There's nothing to do but to go all guns blazing. I've looked at the form, I've studied the tape, I've been vigilant in my video. Jack Grealish is your boy. Replace him straight swap in midfield, no messing about. Bit cheaper as well, so it gives you a bit more to play with on the back end coming into Christmas. They've got 4 winnable games. Have the Villa, get after it. This week, Sporting Gibberites, get yourself Jack Grealish in. That's where the jam is, alright? Over and out. See you next week. Stay humble.
Well,
Gibberites, I like that.
Yeah, the Gibberites. So for a fan, you're never Gibberite.
Yeah, well, I'm
There we
going to
go.
question that. Aston Villa got Wolves,
Hey, look, Derby, though, isn't it?
so I'm not feeling that. And it's Nico Williams, yes, was effective last week,
He's on my bench, actually.
but Trent's back.
He's
So-
on, I've had him all year on the bench because he was cheap, you know, but he didn't get it on, did he? I was hoping that, I can't remember who on my bench was going to not get on because Foden didn't play, but then somebody else came in.
Yeah, he's just not playing forward at the moment.
No, so he's just, yeah. So, but, yeah, well, there we go. Grealish. I think I've brought him in. I can't remember what I've done. I've made a transfer this week. I can't remember what I've done.
Oh, well, I need to, I've not done mine yet, but Walker's Peters, he's picking up points, that boy. Gets forward for assists and does well for
Good
himself.
full, but I was a little bit surprised that Spurs got rid, but I mean, he's been proven because he brought Doherty in and he's got Aurier playing, so fair enough. But
Yeah.
anyway, we'll see what happens, Larko. Thanks for that.
I think the major achievement is I managed to do
48 minutes. You're
Still
awake.
here.
You've not been sick.
I'm still here.
I think his lips are going dry. I think he's desperately needing
Yeah,
water.
I think I need a water. I'm a couple of months well blue. I think I did zone out a couple of times. I think I just zone out when you talk anyway, but that's just another
Most people
story.
do. I said this is a good cure for insomnia. This.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got we're going to enjoy our first week off school. We're all back next week. But
But you know what we need to do this week is we need to get on the bike. We need to do that because Lara's peppered us, sent us a video, and we need to do it for the 16th before she flies.
oh yeah, she's got a spare bike as well.
Yes, so there's no excuses. Look,
Well, we'll do it this week then.
Jackie Boy, we're going to get on it.
We're
And
doing it.
we'll do a bit of recording before. Somebody mentioned during. I was
We'll
like,
do it during. It'll be a bit like
yeah,
that. I think.
yeah, but that's a different story. That's a different show, isn't it?
Oh dear, right.
Um,
On that,
On that note,
yeah.
What do we know?
Yeah, exactly.